Well, welcome everyone to the John Kentera Show, San Diego Sports Talk on YouTube, breaking down Game 2 of the three-game series between our San Diego Padres and the Los Angeles Dodgers. Well, Game 1 on Tuesday night, the Padres went up the freeway and took the Dodgers down, and they clinched the wild card. They had the big celebration in the clubhouse. They came out tonight and lost a hard-fought ball game tonight to the Los Angeles Dodgers, 4-3. Padres had ample opportunities to win this ball game. They rolled some key double plays to get out of jams that just couldn't quite get it going against the Dodger pitching staff. A very tough one, and now the Padres dropped to 3 games back with 4 games to play. The Dodgers actually could clinch the division on Thursday night. That'll be the final game of the series, and the Padres will head over to take on the Arizona Diamondbacks, who won tonight against the San Francisco Giants. We got a lot to get to tonight on the program, and certainly want to get your questions. Also, if this is the first time you've tuned in to our program on YouTube, the John Kentera Show, San Diego Sports Talk, I would ask you to subscribe. We're doing great with subscribers. We're trying to get you the best possible content as we possibly can. And also, you can follow me on Facebook at John Kentera and on X at Coach Kentera 44. And we certainly appreciate all the beautiful comments you've made about our program. We got this up and running. And quite frankly, folks, I wouldn't have done this show if it weren't for a lot of you out there that encouraged me. From the day that I got let go at my prior employer, I wasn't sure what I was going to do. And But I kept getting messages. And, finally, I had a couple of people reach out and said, Coach, man, we got to get you back on the air. People want to hear what you have to say about not only the Padres, but the Aztecs and everything going on in the world of sports. So we're here, and we're doing 3 shows a week. We got 2 great sponsors that I'll tell you about throughout the course of the program. But, again, really appreciate it if you'd subscribe. And also, if you follow me on Facebook at John Kentera and on X at Coach Kentera 44. Lot to talk about. I mean, the bottom line, Dylan Cease just did not have great command on Wednesday night. And the other thing that bothers me, and that's why I said 2 weeks ago, before the Padres ever clinched, and they were right in the wild card, they were number 1 wild card, and I said, if I'm Mike Schilt, and by the way, congratulations to Mike Schilt and to A.J. Preller, outstanding effort. Really put together a very nice ball club, an easy ball club to root for, quite frankly. That hasn't always been the case with the Padres. You wanted them to win because we're Padre fans, but this is an easy team to root for. These guys go about their business in such a professional manner. They're pulling for one another. And I think you got to give Mike Schilt a lot of credit. And you got to give A.J. Preller a tremendous amount of credit because he's really, I think, for the first time in his general manager career with the Padres, he's put together a complete roster. And I know Donovan Solano's having a rough go. He was 0-for-4 on Wednesday night with 3 strikeouts, ended up striking out to end the game, with Brandon Lockridge, a pinch runner, out there on second base. But Solano, Peralta, Higashioka, a career-high 16 home runs. I mean, they've gotten great contributions. They've gotten career years from, obviously, Jurickson Profar. Jackson Merrill made a great catch in the left center field gap tonight to save at least 1, if not 2 runs. Going to be, I think, the rookie of the year in the National League. I don't know how anybody can give it to anybody aside from Jackson Merrill. I'll be really, really disappointed if this young man is not named the National League Rookie of the Year. And that's no offense to Paul Skeens. Paul Skeens is fantastic. I mean, he's going to be one of the best pitchers. He already is one of the best pitchers in baseball. But Jackson Merrill, where would the Padres be without this guy, for crying out loud? It's been unbelievable. Fernando hit his 21st homer Wednesday night. Did a nice job out there, had another hit. Fernando's playing pretty well, and I know he's not 100%, but at the end of the day, Padres could have won this game on Wednesday night, and they could have whittled that number down to 1. And you don't think the Dodgers would have been squirming? Dave Roberts wouldn't have slept. I can guarantee you that, because on Thursday night, Joe Musgrove going to the hill against Walker Buehler. And Walker Buehler can't hit the broadside of a barn right now. He's trying to come back, and watch, he'll go out and throw a gem on Thursday night. But he's been awful. I've watched every one of his starts, and he's been awful. And if the Padres could have found a way to win this game on Wednesday night against Jack Flaherty and the Dodgers, Padres have been knocking on the division door to possibly win a title. But they come up short. And there's still a puncher's chance. Win on Thursday. Who knows? Maybe Buddy Black, they find a way to get the job done over the weekend against the Dodgers. But nonetheless, Padres are going to the postseason. And I got to tell you, the Padres are going to be a tough out. They are going to be a very, very tough out. I was texting with a big Dodger fan. He was hitting me up tonight. And I said to him, this is a guy that's pretty much in the know. And I go, hey, you know what? Dodgers are limping to the finish line. I mean, they're on fumes right now, absolute on fumes right now. And the Padres are in the playoffs. Think about the Padres right now. They've got Michael King, who I would start in game 1. I'd go with Cease in game 2. And if necessary, I'd go with Joe Musgrove in game 3. You also have Yu Darvish, who you can bring out of the bullpen in any of those 3 games if you need them. We don't know who their opponent's going to be. Because if you missed it, the commissioner's office today said that the final 2 games in Atlanta of the Mets-Atlanta series are going to be played next Monday. Next Monday, they're going to play. So both those teams have 5 games left. We're going to get you the standings before we get out of here tonight. But that's going to be tough because if one of those 2 teams have to fly cross country to take on the Padres, Padres are going to be sitting in even better shape. But, you know, Arizona, a lot of depends on who they're going to play is what the Padres do against Arizona this weekend. But, man, the game Wednesday night, Padres, they had a chance. Ohtani killed them again. Ohtani had he scored on that RBI single by Teoscar Hernandez in the first. Ohtani had that RBI double. You know, Ohtani just killing him right now. And then he had the game when he hit the RBI single in the 6th inning with 2 outs. Ohtani's on fire. Absolutely on fire right now. But, you know, you go back to Tuesday night, Padres win the ball game 4-2, pulled off the triple play. How about that? Well, was that one of the great plays in the history of the San Diego Padres? Think about that. Not only do you pull off the triple play, but by pulling off the triple play, you qualify for the playoffs. That was amazing. Manny's got such a gun. It is so fun to watch him play. I love watching him throw from third base. And he doesn't always gun it over there, but when he has to gun it over there, man, that's something special. Hey, we want to take your questions and comments tonight. We did our first live show on Monday, and it went absolutely fantastic. So if you're out there, I know it's late, but, hey, you got to have Padre fever. I mean, I've been working all day on the Padres. I couldn't wait to get here. In fact, I got to share with you a little story. You're gonna crack up. I need to get an MRI, so I had it scheduled for today at 9:45. I was supposed to report to UCSD there in La Jolla, and at 10:15 I was going to have the MRI. No problem. Went down there, go to the desk, and say, "Hey, John Kentera, I'm here for an MRI." They look, they go, "You're supposed to be here tonight at 9:45. I go, 9:45? He goes, yeah, it says right here, 9:45 p.m. I go, you got to be kidding me. I go, the Padres are playing tonight, and I'm doing a show tonight. They go, well, no. I go, why would it be at 9:45? He goes, we're so busy, we have to schedule them around the clock. So what I did, I didn't want to miss this show tonight. I went over to the corner. I called the scheduler and said, hey, look, I need to get this MRI. And I need to have it before October 10th. And I need it, well in advance of October 10th. And so next Wednesday, I've got to report to UCSD at 4:15 in the morning. I could have got the MRI tonight, but man, it's Padre baseball season. I can lose a little sleep next week. I'll go down there at 4:15. But I just want to let you know, I was supposed to get the MRI, but I wanted to talk Padre baseball with you folks tonight. So anyways, love to hear from you. And I know it's late, but, man, we got a lot to talk about. Really exciting, man. It is great. And Mike Shildt and Preller, I'm so happy for those guys. Mike Shilt's having a really nice run as a major league manager, I can tell you that. But that game Tuesday night, it's hard to go to bed. It was hard to go to bed. I was pretty fired up about that. Okay, I got to tell you about one of our sponsors, Grangetto's Farm and Garden Supply. Fantastic people, big-time people in the community, absolutely outstanding, expert advice. I want you to sign up for their newsletter. I want you to go to their website, grangettos.com. Grangettos.com. Go to their web page. You can sign up for their newsletter. Some great stuff. I was telling you the other day, last week, I got mine last Thursday, was my latest one, and they were talking about how to deal with citrus trees. And I don't know much about that, but I'll tell you one thing. I want to know how to grow avocados. That's going to be my next little project around the house. I want to grow avocados because I've had avocados that have that Grangettos has told people how to go about doing them. And man, they're absolutely creamy. They're so good. I love avocados. Love avocados. But again, great people, very much community oriented. And the other thing that I like to say, I like to shop where the pros are shop. You know why? Because you're getting A1 stuff. You're getting A1 stuff, and that's why they open early in the morning so all the pros can get in there and get everything they need for their clients on that given day. Grangettos, Farm and Garden Supply, and make sure when you go in there, make sure to tell them Coach John Kentera sent you. Okay, want to get to some questions and comments tonight, and we'll be taking those here shortly. So if you'd like to go ahead and send them in, we'll certainly get to them. I want to talk about Robert Suarez, and I think, we've talked about Robert recently, but I think the conversation needs to continue. I'm a big Robert Suarez fan. I have been since I saw him in spring training in 2022. The young man, he's 33 years of age. He came to the big leagues at 31, never had been with an organization in the United States. He pitched in Mexico, he pitched in Japan. And A.J. Preller and his scouts, they sign him, does a great job. Last year, he wasn't really healthy, I don't think, until the end of the year. But this year, he's been relatively healthy. They've been trying to give him some rest here and there. And he's done a great job as a closer. I mean, he's pitched in 64 games. He's 9-3 with a 2.81 ERA and 35 saves and 41 chances. So he's had 6 blown saves. And you go back to Tuesday night, didn't look good. I mean, they were hitting him good. And I know Kike Hernandez got that little base hit to center where he broke his bat, but I'll tell you what, I'm not sure the Padres would have won that game if they didn't turn the triple play. Even a double play, Ohtani would have been coming up with a tying run on base, but they wiped it out with a triple play, and he picked up his save. But his numbers are not good. I mean, you go back, and I went back and looked at all of his logs. And in March, he pitched in 2 games, had a 3.86 ERA, 2 for 2 in save opportunities. April, 10 games, 10 1/3 innings, no runs allowed, 8 for 8 in save opportunities. Batters hit only 156 against him. In May, 12 games, 12 1/3 innings, a 0.73 ERA, 7 for 7 in save opportunities. Major league hitters that month of May hit 136 against them. In June, 9 games, 8 innings, a 2.25 ERA, 3 of 4 in save opportunities. Hitters batted 219. Now we start getting into July. 9 games, 9 2/3 innings, 2.79 ERA, 3 of 5 in save opportunities. August, he was good in the save category, but his ERA started moving up. 11 games, 10 1/3 innings, a 4.35 ERA, 6 for 6, though, in save opportunities, but batters were hitting 279 against him in August. And in the month of September, where we're at right now, currently, 11 games, 11 innings. He's given up 12 hits. His ERA now is 6.55. Hitters are batting 286 against him, and he's 6 for 9 in save opportunities. He's got 6 blown saves on the year, 3 of them in the month of September, and that's not what you want. That's not what you want. And I talked about this on Monday when we had our first live broadcast. I think Mike Schilt, publicly, he's got to say, hey, you know what? Robert's our guy. He's done it for us all year. But I guarantee you, between him and the coaching staff, general manager, they're talking, saying, hey, in certain situations, we may have to switch it up and go with Tanner Scott, depending on who's coming up in the 9th inning or who's coming up in the 8th inning. You may have to, I don't want to say go closer by committee, but let's face it, Tanner Scott has a lot of experience as a closer. And they may have to go that direction. We'll have to wait and see. The other guy that I wanted to talk about, and then we're going to get to the wild card standings, and if we got some people out there that want to chime in and visit with me tonight. But Robert Suarez has to be a little bit of a concern right now. Really has to be a little bit of a concern. Okay, I want to talk about Luis Arraez. Now, here's the deal on Arraez that I'm a little concerned with. He doesn't have a hit in the series right now against the Dodgers. He was 0 for 4. His batting average went down to .315. Marcell Ozuna, who's gotten hot. Arraez was, like at .318, and Ozuna was at .306. But Ozuna, and again, the Braves aren't playing until Friday now, and then they got 5 games left. Ozuna was hitting .306. He's up to .310. Arraez 0 for 4, 0 for the series right now against the Dodgers, is hitting .315. So, I mean, that's a big differential with very few games to go. And both these guys have so many at-bats. I mean, you're not going to go down a whole lot, nor are you going to go up a whole lot. But Arraez kind of clinging right now to the National League batting crown. And again, trying to win his 3rd consecutive batting crown. 2 years ago, won it in Minnesota. Last year, he won it in Miami, and trying to win it in a member of the San Diego Padres. So Luis Arraez, I'm very concerned, not just about his batting. I'm concerned about that hand. If you watch him hit, that hand is really giving him a lot of problems right now. And we'll hopefully see him, maybe get a day off. Now, the Padres, I mean, technically they could still win the division. I know it's a long shot. They're 3 games back with 4 to go. And I keep looking. I was looking at the schedule today. Once again, the Padres, and this is going to irritate you. Late on a win, this is going to irritate you a little bit. The Padres won 5-8 this year against the Colorado Rockies. I mean, 5-8 against the Rockies. And, that hurt. I mean, Padres, heck, they go 8-5. We're talking about, neck and neck with the Dodgers going into that game tomorrow night and going into the weekend series in Arizona. But hey, that's baseball. Of course, losing a couple to the Angels didn't help either. But that's the way it goes. Yeah, stuck in a quick one. Our buddy Kevin from Chula Vista. Padres looked a little sluggish. Hangovers understandable. Arraez and Solano not having good series. Well, I would agree with you on that, Kevin. They may have been a little sluggish tonight, but you know what? I thought they played hard. They had their opportunities. They just couldn't get the job done. I had a lot of people, and I probably am one, and I'm not going to sit here and say the Padres shouldn't have had their big celebration after clinching a wild card. Everybody celebrates differently. And I think a lot of it comes down to not just necessarily the organization, the manager, but I think it comes down to the veteran players. And, it's a great accomplishment to get into the playoffs. It's so hard. And I know they've expanded the wild card the last few years, but hey, that's a big deal. I don't know if I was playing or coaching, if I'd want to have a beer shower or a champagne shower when I'm now 2 games back and, I'm in 2nd place, basically in 4th place in the National League right now because you got the 3 division winners and the Padres. But you know what? They chose to do that. More power to them. I know there were a lot of people complaining, oh, man, they shouldn't have done that. Hey, everybody's different. And I thought they came out and played hard tonight. I don't think they may be a little tired, but you know what? Sometimes ball players, they play better when they're a little fatigued. They're used to playing when they're fatigued. They're more relaxed when they're tired. And I didn't see anything that said to me, man, the Padres weren't ready to play tonight. I thought they were very ready to play. They just couldn't, get the big hit when they needed it tonight. But Kevin, thank you very much. Miss talking with you on the phone. Andrew in Pennsylvania, thank you very much. Very much appreciate you. And thank you very much. Contributed to the ball club here. Tough loss, Coach. Love that they kept it close, though. Yeah, that's the big thing. I mean, it's a heck of a game. It could have gone either way tonight. It really could have gone either way. Dodgers, they had their moments. Padres had their moments. That was a good Major League Baseball game. It was like a playoff game. I didn't think either Dylan Cease or Jack Flaherty really had their great stuff, but I'm also going to give the hitters a little bit of credit. I'll tell you the one guy I'm not going to give a whole lot of credit to, and I don't like to get on umpires. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago. I don't like to get on umpires, but Andy Fletcher had a rough night. He was hurting both ball clubs. I think both ball clubs were a little bit upset with him tonight. And you know what? If I'm Mike Schultz, Dave Roberts, I'm probably barking from the dugout tonight, the way I see it. But it was a tough loss, Andrew. Very much appreciate you tuning in, and thank you very much for helping the ball club out tonight. We're going to get to more questions here in just a couple of minutes. I want to get to the wild card standings. Okay, I want to get to the wild card standings and the division. We got to get to those and kind of let everyone know what's going on. Now, tonight, Arizona defeated the Giants 8-2. Diamondbacks, they have the 3 games left against our San Diego Padres. Okay, the division, Dodgers sitting in great shape. A 3-game lead, 94-64. You know what? You got to give the Dodgers a little bit of credit. I know they spent a ton of money on Ohtani, and man, Ohtani is really, what a year. What a year this guy's had. It's unbelievable. And, you know, when you total up everything this guy has done, just next to an amazing player, amazing season. And but, you know, they've had so many injuries to their pitching staff, and they've still won 94 games. It's pretty amazing. Padres winning 91-67, 3 games back. Diamondbacks with their win tonight, 88-71. 6.5 back, and you know you got Bob Melvin. The only thing his team's playing for right now is to finish above 500. In Colorado, a rough one, another rough one for my buddy Black. Okay, let's take a look at the wild card because this is where it gets really dicey, folks. Really dicey. And again, if you tuned in a little bit late, they've called off the final 2 games tonight and tomorrow in Atlanta due to the rains and Hurricane Helene. So those 2 games are going to be made up on Monday, a doubleheader in Atlanta. But as of right now, you got the Padres at 91-67, a 3.5 game lead, sitting in great shape. You got the New York Mets right now, you know, technically tied with the Diamondbacks, 87-70 and 88-71. And then you got the Atlanta Braves, 1 game back, 86-71. I don't know. Who do you want to play? You want to play the Mets? You want to play the Braves? You want to play the Arizona Diamondbacks? I would ask you fans that. But those are the standings. And again, couple of things. The Mets play 3 games in Milwaukee starting on Friday. And Atlanta stays at home to take on the Kansas City Royals. And again, both teams have 5 games left. So those are the standings right now. Okay, I want to tell you about one of our great sponsors. Your Reliable Home Buyers. They're absolutely off the chart. Comprehensive real estate services, reliable home buyers. And, you know, one of the things, especially for a lot of you young folks that are maybe trying to buy for the first time, I like to call it the building block effect. You want to buy something small, get some equity, and then you want to sell and kind of work your way up like a lot of people have done. That's why you choose Reliable Home Buyers. They're fantastic, and you'll love them, and you're going to stay with them, and they can help you through all of this process. The other thing, and I think this is a real key, folks, when you want to buy or sell, they can get this thing done in a hurry. Say you want to sell your home. They can get you cash very, very quickly, okay? And if you want to buy a home, they can get the paperwork out. They can do everything they need to do. But again, they'll buy old houses. Josh Messiah, who's with your home buyers or your Reliable Home Buyers, he'll tell you they'll buy ugly houses. They will do that. But I want you to give them a call. Give them a call Thursday morning. Tell them Coach John Kentera sent you. The number 858-422-4116, or visit them at yourreliablehomebuyers.com. Yourreliablehomebuyers.com. And believe me, I think you'll be more than satisfied. And we appreciate them being a part of the program. I want to get back to more of your questions. A lot of people out there have asked me about, what are the Padres going to do with Luis Arraez? It's a very good question. I'm talking about next year. I mean, when you're AJ Preller, you got to always be looking ahead. You got to be looking a year ahead, 2 years ahead. What do you got coming in the farm system? And at the end of the day, Luis Arraez, you want to have this guy back. And you got to figure out what you're doing with Ha-Seong Kim. Hey, just a quick update on Ha-Seong Kim. He was over in Arizona, and he's been working. He's been throwing from about 90 feet. Last weekend, he was throwing from 75. Of course, Nick Ahmed is eligible for the plus. We haven't seen Nick in a game yet. We may see him at some point. Who knows? Maybe they'll run him out there tomorrow night or over the weekend. But Nick Ahmed, a guy that's won a couple of Gold Gloves, the shortstop, and not going to give you a whole lot offensively, but, man, he can play a shutdown shortstop if you need him in the late innings. Jason Wynn, who is the better opponent for the Padres in the wild card round? Oh, I think that's a good question. The Mets seem to be kind of like the Padres, a little bit of a team of destiny this year. And the good thing, if they played the Padres, they would be coming west. After playing a doubleheader, I would like that. Arizona, I think away from their ballpark, I would be okay. I don't like the Padres having to play at Chase Field. Chase Field has been a house of horrors historically for the Padres. And I know every year's different, but that infield is hard. The ball flies, and I don't want to get into a slugfest with them. I mean, there's people that will tell you, and I, for one, now that you got the humidor, especially in Colorado, I'm not so sure that Chase Field doesn't allow you to do more damage offensively than Coors Field. I mean, that ball flies in Arizona. It really does, and that infield is so hard. I mean, I've talked to managers. I've talked to coaches. They'd rather play at Coors Field, to be honest with you. That's kind of the way they look at it. But, Jason, to me, I think I don't know if I want to play the Mets. The Mets scare me a little bit. They got some guys that are big-time players. They play in a big market. And you know what? They're going to be really motivated because of what the Padres did to them a couple of years ago. And I know it's a new manager. They got new players. But I think I don't know. I think I wouldn't mind playing the Diamondbacks, even though we know them really well. I'd like to see them come to Petco Park because I think would fare pretty well against them. At the end of the day, it really doesn't matter to get where you want to go. You're going to have to beat some good people along the way. I was thinking about the Dodgers. Who the hell are the Dodgers going to use in their rotation? I mean, Jack Flaherty going to go. Yamamoto, who really hadn't pitched a whole lot since June. His last start wasn't very good. I mean, Dodgers got some really big problems. And I know no Padre fans are sitting around crying for them. I mean, they can hammer a little bit, but they go into their ruts offensively. Freddie Freeman doesn't look good at the plate at all. Mookie Betts doesn't have a hit in the series yet. And a lot of that's good pitching, but those guys don't even look good. Freddie Freeman, I'll tell you what, his numbers at the end of the year are going to be okay, but they're not Freddie Freeman-like. It looks like he's not picking the ball up. I mean, trying to fan the ball to left field a little bit more. And I know, he missed, a bunch of games with his little boy, was stricken with that illness. The little boy doing great now, running around and, making progress. And that obviously weighed on him and his entire family. But I'll tell you what, man, Andrew Friedman, Dave Roberts, they got some problems going into the playoffs. I'll be honest. I think the Padres are sitting in the catbird seat right now. As long as they go out and play like they've played most of the year, they're going to be fine. They're going to do really, really well. But, Jason, thanks again. Very much appreciate that question. We'll take a few more questions. Michael Lee, congrats on the entrance of the playoffs, but they never do themselves any favors. They always do things the hard way. And 2 observations, very critical. But I'm sick and tired of Bogaerts and Suarez. I watched last night, I watched the postgame show, and I listened to Xander Bogaerts. And you know that Xander Bogaerts, now tonight, Bogaerts had a good ball game overall. He was 1 for 3, had a walk, drove in his 43rd run. He is hitting close to 300 since he came back. And he come back I guess it was the end of July is when he came back. Wasn't it right around there? He's hit almost 300 since he's come back. The power numbers aren't great. He's got 11 home runs. And he also said last night, give me a few more days at shortstop and I'll get back to where I used to be. That's a big ask the Padres asked him. After moving him to second base, he has to go back to short. Folks, you don't realize how difficult that position is. I mean, there's so many nuances playing shortstop compared to second base. Number one, the throw. You got to cover a lot of ground. You go to your left when you're playing second base, your little wrist throw over to first base. But Bogaerts will get better. I mean, he's not a Gold Glove shortstop at this point in time, but he's more than adequate. And he made a couple of errors recently, but I'm sticking with Xander Bogaerts. Hey, you know what? You got him for about 9 more years, so you better get used to it. Now he may end up, going back to second next year. He may end up down the road at the end of his career at first base. We'll have to wait and see on that. Suarez is a concern. There's no doubt about it, Michael. I totally agree with you 100%. And again, be interesting to see how Mike Schilt plays this down the stretch, whether it's tomorrow night. A lot of people are kind of wondering, why didn't Tanner Scott pitch tonight? I think, number one, the guy's pitched in 70 games this year. And you want to have this guy fresh. Now it's all about managing. I mean, if the Padres win tomorrow night, it keeps their hopes alive. If they get beaten, the Dodgers celebrate another division title, 11 out of the last 12. And the 1 year they didn't win it, they won 106 games. They got to rest these guys and get them ready. Everything would be geared towards Tuesday, a home game on Tuesday if you're the number one seed. So that's kind of where you're at. Nick Ahmed will probably get some time. I would think Xander Bogaerts might get a day off here and there. Luis Arraez, to me, needs a day off. I think this is where they're going to have to make a decision. Yeah, you're still alive going into tomorrow night's game, but, I mean, a lot of things that have to happen. I mean, number one, you pretty much have to win every game, and the Dodgers would have to lose every game. I think they need to give Arraez some time off. I know he wants to be in the lineup, but he's 4 hits away from 200. But I think they ought to rest him if they can. All right, Chris. Arraez's skill set should be with him for 5+ years. Arraez's speed and defense, below average. Totally agree with that. We have him for his hitting. He will spray the baseball, and hitting skill won't diminish, in my opinion. Sign him. Okay, now, a couple of things to look at. What kind of money is he going to be looking at? I mean, you got to look at overall, what are you going to do? You're going to try to bring Ha-Seong Kim back? Some of these guys, are going to make a little bit more money in arbitration. You got, a lot of these guys tied up. I mean, Machado's tied up, Bogart's tied up, Fernando's tied up. You're going to have to come back with all new catchers. I don't think any of these catchers will be back. I mean, maybe Higashioka at a bargain basement price to be the backup. I don't know what's going to happen with Camposano, Elias Diaz, who was 0 for 2 tonight, took a ball off the forearm. That isn't the reason he came out. They had Peralta pinch hit for him. But you're going to have to bring in a whole new catching staff, I think, next year. I don't think they're going to bring Camposano back. What do you think? You guys think they're going to bring Camposano back? I think Arraez comes back if the price is right. It's going to have to be at the team's price. Because let's face it, he's pretty much a one-dimensional player. A guy that gets on base, sprays the ball around with little power, and not a great defender. You got to hide him at first base. And that's probably where he would end up. Now, are you going to leave Bogaerts at short? Because if you're leaving him at short, then you're probably not re-signing Kim. You put Cronenworth at second, and Arraez becomes your everyday first baseman. That's kind of the way I'm looking at it. But it'll be interesting, Chris. By the way, I like that picture. Big dog fan. Appreciate that. Michael Lee, Machado coasts too much in the first half of the season and cost the Padres 5 games in the first half of the season. Nonchalant attitude. Plus, the Padres lost too many last-place teams. Runners in scoring position. Padres inept in pressure. Well, they've been a lot better as the season's gone on. And the other thing, remember Manny early in the year, he was still recovering from a shoulder and trying to go slow, kind of working at his pace. And, Manny Machado, even when he runs hard, he runs the bases pretty well, but he never runs down the line all that hard unless he can sniff a hit. And that's not going to change. But you know what? I watch other guys. I watch Freddie Freeman ground balls to shortstop or second base. None of these guys are busting like they did years ago. It's a different game now. And you get upset with it. I get upset with it. But I also understand that we don't know everything that goes on with these players injury-wise or who's available out of the bullpen on a given night. But a lot of the managers, they're not going to tell you before the game. They're not going to give away trade secrets. But, yeah, Manny's not going to win any land speed records running down the line. There's no question about that. And you know what? The other thing, it would be really nice to have a Fernando Tatis Jr. eligible for 162 games. We've never seen it. I mean, he hit that ball so deep in the pavilion on Wednesday night. I mean, that thing was just a bomb. What they had, 114 miles an hour, 448 feet. That was outstanding. But you know what, Michael? I get your frustration with Manny. I think a lot of people get frustrated with him, but the guy at the end of the day puts up big numbers. He hits one more home, he'll have 30 bombs for this year, over 100 RBIs right now. Plays a lights out third base. Manny is who he is, and the Padres knew what they were getting. So there you have it. But Michael, thank you very much. I very much appreciate you dialing us up. All right, Charles Scott, thanks for going live, Coach. Miss hearing you on the air. Well, Charles, we're going to be here. I know it's a little bit different, but I'm enjoying it. I have a lot of fun. I don't have to take commercial breaks. I just get to talk about my great sponsors, and I miss you guys more than anything else. And I'm doing this show for you folks, not for myself. I mean, I could ride off into the sunset, but I like talking ball. Besides that, my wife likes me doing this because then I don't report all the scores to her and tell her everything the Padres are doing. She kind of gets wore out when I come down the stairs every morning and say, hey, the Padres won last night. So-and-so did this. So-and-so did that. She's more than happy to have me on YouTube talking about the Padres. And then once the Padres season's over, we'll talk about the offseason, and we'll talk about all the other things going on in San Diego. And if there's a big national story, we'll talk about a big national story. Like Friday, we're going to talk a little bit about the Aztec football game on Saturday. They're going to be playing at Central Michigan. They need a win. They need a big win. A lot of things going on in college football. But, Charles, thank you very much. I very much appreciate that. And, I'm humbled by a lot of you folks out there. You have been so kind to me, so kind. Coach John Kentera Show. That was my absolute favorite Padres show. That environment was built for you, Coach. I'm glad I found you in the algorithm. Danny boy, thank you very much. When I think about all the years I did Padres pre and post game, 13 years in all, and on the radio for over 30, there were so many years when I was at 690 that Mr. Lynch, who got me into this crazy business back in 1987, he tried to get the Padres on 690, and then we went to 1090, and we got him for the 2004 season. And from 2004 to 2015, I was doing pre and post game and doing talk shows. And then, when the other station got the Padres, they Padres actually are the ones that called me. They texted me one night and said, hey, can you do the pre and post game show tomorrow night? And I go, well, I can't do the pregame because I'd already committed to Paul Rudy to do something on TV that night. But I went over and did the post-game show and did that for a couple of more years. And, of course, the talk shows and all that. But I live and breathe Padre baseball. It was so much fun. Since 10 years old, being at the very first game back in 1969. But I really appreciate that. And, I think of all the nights at all the different plays, working with Bob Scanlon, working with Randy Jones, a lot of Ernie Martinez, a great guy, marvelous guy, Ernie Martinez. All those guys were great people. Great people. Love those guys. And they're great friends of mine to this day. But there were a lot of years that I did the post-game show by myself. And, when Scan got into it in 2004 and he went to TV, pretty much Randy came in and we did it. But, there were years where, the radio station didn't want to pay. My last radio station, they didn't want to pay for a post-game sidekick because I could have gotten some pretty good people. They just didn't want to pay the money. So I did it by myself, and that was fine. I was used to doing it by myself. But we are always going to talk Padre baseball anytime I get the opportunity. And KUSI has me on every Tuesday morning. I'm on real early at 6:30 if you want to hear what I have to say. And next Tuesday is going to be awesome. I'll be on at 6:30 with Paul Rudy and Lauren Finney. And it'll be great because we'll be talking about the first game of the Wildcard series. And, we're going to have a live show. By the way, we're going to have a show on Friday, but we're going to have another live show on Sunday night at 8 o'clock. And I want you to join me Sunday night at 8 o'clock. It'll be fun. We're going to go through all the different divisions. the division winners, the wild card in both the American and National League, and that'll be good stuff. But Danny boy, thank you very much, and always look forward to talking Padre baseball with you and everybody else. From Kevin in Chula Vista, I don't want to see the Phillies. They're better than San Diego, and San Diego rarely plays well in Philly. Hey, that's a hostile environment, man. They play some good old hard-fashioned baseball. There's no doubt about it. If you're an old-school fan, you like watching the Phillies. I mean, Trey Turner, obviously Bryce Harper, Nick Castellanos, Brandon Marsh, Bryson Stott. They got the guys in the rotation, Ranger Suarez, Aaron Nola, Zach Wheeler. They got a decent bullpen. They're tough. And they're tough in their ballpark, really tough in their ballpark. But, hey, you know what? You're going to have to beat somebody good to get where you want to go anyways. So I don't want to necessarily play the Phillies until we got to the NLCS. I'll tell you the team that I think is going to have a really hard time, and I talked about it earlier. I think the Dodgers are going to have a hell of a time getting out of the first round. I really do. I mean, with their pitching, they just don't have it. I mean, they can only run so many bullpen guys out there. And, they're going to start landing Knack in a playoff game. They're going to start Walker Buehler. We'll see Walker Buehler on Thursday night going against Joe Musgrove. And Buehler's numbers are awful. How about these numbers? 1-6 and a 5.63 ERA. And he was put on the IL. He was sent to the minor leagues to throw. I mean, he's coming back from his second Tommy John. He's going to be a free agent at the end of the year. Dodgers are in dire straits. Padres are sitting in good shape. Just stay healthy. Get Arraez healthy. Give some guys maybe a little rest over the weekend. And be ready to go on to. Everything now is focused on Tuesday night or Tuesday day, whenever they're going to play that game. Everything you're doing is focused on Tuesday. Getting game one of that series on Tuesday. Parada Studios. I was at the game. It felt like playoffs. I would agree. Last night, I didn't think it felt like a playoff atmosphere. But the Dodger fans came out. Why? Because it was Clayton Kershaw bobblehead night. They had over 52,000 on Wednesday night. And it sounded like they were into it. But you know what? Padres were right there. I mean, that game could have gone either way. It was a heartbreaker. Think about this. I could be sitting here at 11:04 on a Wednesday night with a couple of breaks, and we could be talking about the Padres one game back of the Dodgers. And with a great opportunity on Thursday night to even it up and be, even going into the final three games of the regular season. But the Padres came up just a little bit short, and the Dodgers, give them credit. Or give Ohtani credit. Man, Ohtani killed him again tonight. Couple more RBIs, an RBI double, RBI single to win the ball game. Neil Umshide Jr. Neil, thank you very much for dialing me up here. Coach, should we worry about our pen? No, I'm not really that worried. I guess I'm a little worried from the standpoint of Suarez mentally. But, he's got enough of guys around him. And I think Mike Schultz going to get him out there at least one more time before the regular season and let him go out there and just do his thing. The one thing I did see on Tuesday night, it wasn't a great pitch, but he at least attempted a changeup. He hadn't been throwing many changeups or sliders. Everything's been pretty much, four-seam fastball, sinkers. But he did attempt a changeup, but he buried it away to a left-hand hitter. So Suarez is a little bit of a concern. The other guys I think are fine. As long as they're healthy, those guys, Brian Hoeing, he can go out there, get the job done. At the end of the day, Tanner Scott, Jason Adam, I'm fine with all those guys. Wandy Peralta came in, and I know a lot of you Padre fans are probably going, oh, my God, why are they bringing in Wandy Peralta? Well, you got Kike Hernandez to hit it into an inning-ending double play. Guy's pitched in the big league, knows how to move the ball around a little bit. Against certain guys, he's going to be very, very effective. Jeremiah Estrada didn't have great control. But overall, the bullpen's good. Bullpen's been good. I don't have a really much of a problem with the bullpen. You're going to have a blow-up every once in a while. That's going to happen. But, Neil, thank you very much. Juan Castillo coming in with a Dodger ball cap on. Hey, Coach, Dodger fan living out here in beautiful San Diego. Awesome listening to you again. Miss listening to you on the radio. I've always looked forward to that. Thankful you're out here doing this for us. Well, Juan, thank you very much. I think if you love baseball, you enjoy what I bring to the table. I know a Padre fan, they don't like when I talk about other ball clubs, but you know what? That's all part of the game, man. I appreciate what guys do. The people, and I was talking to a gentleman the other day at a get together, and I go, you got to remember something. I go, you played ball, and there's guys that played in the big leagues. The farther away from playing, they kind of forget how tough it is. You know, they're sitting at home drinking a beer, watching the game, and oh man, how did that guy not swing at that pitch? This game's tough. And I respect all these major league players. And I respect the Dodgers. Dave Roberts is a very, very good friend of mine. Dave was the first guy I ever interviewed on radio back in 1987. A lot of people don't know that. I've mentioned that over the year. He was a sophomore quarterback at Rancho Buena Vista High School. And I went out and interviewed his high school coach, Craig Bell, who I knew. And I go, I need one of your players. He took me over to the gym and pulled this little sophomore out of a class and said, hey, you're going to do an interview with this guy. And it was Dave Roberts. We've been friends ever since. He comes to my Christmas party every year at the Leucadian. And by the way, you're all invited. December 6th, Leucadian, anytime after 4 o'clock, about 4 to 9. Dave Roberts was there last year. Josh Stein, the assistant general manager of the Padres, was there last year. His wife, Kirk McCaskill, John Carney, the old kicker from the Chargers. We have a great group of folks coming to Leucadian. December 6th, folks. It's a Friday. You're all welcome. Dave Roberts actually came last year. He drove straight from Dodger Stadium to where he had been talking with Ohtani and his representatives on that Friday. He didn't even drive home. He drove right to the Leucadian. So, Juan, I love talking baseball. I can talk, as Randy Jones would say, I could talk to a wooden Indian when it comes to baseball. But I thank you very much for tuning in, and good luck to your ball club in the playoffs. Michael Lee, Padres last year, 2023-24. Why? Let those players walk. Michael Wacha, 13-8, 3.28 ERA. Seth Lugo, 16-8, 3.05. Sean Manaea, 12-5 with a 3.29 ERA. Well, Sean Manaea, first of all, was here 2 years ago, and he was awful. He went to the Giants a year ago. It was a little bit better. But, you know, after he left San Diego after the 2022 season, he said, you know, he didn't work hard. I don't know what was bugging him or whatever, but he looks like a totally different guy now. He doesn't have that long hair. He looks like a totally different guy. And he's pitched great for the Mets. Been absolutely fantastic for the Mets. Seth Lugo, I'm a big fan of Seth Lugo. You know why? And Seth Lugo wanted to prove to somebody that he could be a starting pitcher. And the Padres gave him the opportunity last year, and he made the most of it and made a lot of money. The other thing that I respect with Seth Lugo was when he went on the IL a year ago for a short time with the Padres, he didn't sit around here and, you know, throw light bullpens and, you know, just hang out in San Diego while the team was on the road. He went over to Arizona, and he went over there and worked on reshaping his breaking ball. And I pull for Seth Lugo because the game means something to him. Some guys go out and play just because they're good at it. But there's other guys that take it to the next level, the guys that continue to try to get better. And Seth Lugo's not a young guy. And he went out there and worked, and he earned that nice contract. And Wacha did a heck of a job. Michael Wacha did a great job. But they couldn't afford those guys. You can only afford so many guys. I mean, they got Dylan Cease, you know, during spring or just before they went to Korea. They got him for cheap, absolutely cheap. They made the deal during the season to get Martin Perez. He's not making a lot of money. Luis Arraez, the Marlins are paying his salary. Padres cut a ton of money. They couldn't sign those guys. They didn't even make an offer to Blake Snell. Now Blake Snell's going to opt out of his deal. Will the Padres go after him again? Do you want to see the Padres go after Blake Snell? I don't know what the budget's going to be for the Padres. I just know that there are going to be a lot of guys that are on this team now that probably won't be back next year. I mentioned the catching staff. I don't know about Kim. I don't know about David Peralta. I mean, he's 37 years of age. Donovan Solano. Those guys have done a good job this year. I don't know if they're going to be coming back. I don't know if you want them back Can they repeat what they're doing this year, next year? I don't know. So a lot of things to take a look at on that. But, hey, I'd love to have Walker and Lugo. I mean, Seth Lugo's got to get a lot of votes for the Cy Young in the American League, doesn't he? Neil Umscheid, if Kim gets healthy enough to play, what do you think happens to the lineup? That's a very good question. I'm not sure he's going to be healthy. Unless he can play this weekend in Arizona a couple of games, I don't think you can risk it. I think Ahmed can still, play defense. Bogarts is going to be your guy. In the late innings, if you got a lead, you bring Ahmed in. You got to get Ahmed into a major league game. He was down in AAA. They brought him up. He hadn't played yet. You got to get him into a ball game. But I don't think Hassan's going to be coming back. I really don't. So, but Neil, thank you very much. Very much appreciate that. Again, I want to thank everyone for tuning in. And again, you can follow me on Facebook at John Kentera, and you can follow me on X at Coach Kentera 44. Let's and make sure you subscribe to the channel and make sure you turn on the notifications. That way you won't miss a show. We're going to do a show on Friday that we'll have up for you. And then remember Sunday night. Oh, it's going to be some great baseball talk Sunday night. I'm already looking forward to that because we're going to talk about the American League matchups. We're going to talk about the National League. We're still not going to know because we got the doubleheader now against the Mets and Atlanta on Monday. So we got a lot, man. The playoffs start on Tuesday. It's going to be awesome. Again, we'll take a couple of more questions if they're out there. If not, we'll let everyone get to bed tonight. But we appreciate it. Padres lose a very tough one tonight, to the Los Angeles Dodgers. But, hey, you know what? At the end of the day, the Padres are in the playoffs, and they're raring to go. And main thing, just be healthy. And they're going to be healthy. I think Mike Schultz is going to have to pick and choose how he's going to go about it. Again, Arizona won on Wednesday night 8-2 over the San Francisco Giants. And, again, the Diamondbacks, they have 3 games left against the Padres. They're off on Thursday, so they'll be off. But the Padres, and they had their opportunities on Wednesday night, just couldn't quite get it done against the Dodgers. And the Dodgers now move it out to a 3-game lead with that 4-3 victory tonight. Dodgers can clinch on Thursday night, and let's make them wait a little bit. Let's have the Padres win, and they can clinch at Coors Field if they're going to clinch. I don't necessarily want to see the Dodgers run out of their dugout and hug and kiss one another on Thursday. And I want to see the Padres get another win. So, again, thank you very much for tuning in. We'll have a show up for you on Friday. And then remember, mark it down, and we'll do it on Facebook and on X. I'll remind people. But Sunday night at 8 o'clock. Sunday night, 8 o'clock, we're going to do a lot of good baseball stuff on Sunday evening. So let's hope our Padres can get a win on Thursday night, go over and do some damage against the Diamondbacks. But more than anything, stay healthy and get ready for the wild card round on Tuesday. And where the Padres are at right now, there's going to be some ball at Petco Park next week. Thank you very much for tuning in. Again, make sure you subscribe. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you again on Friday, everyone. Good night. Bye-bye.